Our next speaker, Richard SMOLinski, is a visual and performance artist. He is currently completing his PhD at the University of Calgary Department of Art. In January, he will be part of Pop, Sex exhibition at Illingworth Kerr Gallery. Please welcome Richard SMOLinski.
Well, I appreciate the invitation to discuss the theme of one. Oh, am I supposed to hit this? Oh, there we go. I now realize that I'm ill-suited for this task. Instead of thinking my work in terms of singular, significant instances, I tend to habitually return to the same idea over and over again. I thought that I might do one self-portrait that represented my masculine identity, but this image, revolutionary behavioral pattern, was not enough. Soon I began to imagine myself as the stand-in, or stunt double for all sordid male behavior, as evidenced by this series, Every Mannerism. Instead of a single pose or posture capturing a specific identity or character type, I realized I was attracted to active processes and how character is revealed through social interaction. The aggregate of these growing social encounters and contentions I called para-dime a dozen. As a title like Para-Dime a Dozen suggests, I grew increasingly interested in wordplay and the elasticity of language. In 2006, I began my doctoral studies in performance studies at the University of Calgary. And this is a portion of my independent study project that I completed with experimental poet Christian Book. This project investigated the portmanteau, a word coinage technique used by both Lewis Carroll and James Joyce. The portmanteau combines two or more already existing words to create new terminology that's packed full of connotations and interpretive possibilities. While creating this series of singular portmanteau images might have yielded a provocative exhibition, I was attracted to the idea of stringing together these individual coinages into threads of narrative, such as pluralocrats, demon strategize, the halcyon slot of upsidaisical idiotrocities und plethorars. In 2007, two of my core interests, language and masculinity, came together in a thematic exhibition when I was invited to be one of three artists in the exhibition, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, a Truck contemporary art in Calgary. My contribution was Manhodius, Slanderds, O Beer Slavier, versus Philauderies, Uberrot, Treasonslot. The exhibition also featured John Will and Chris Linskog, and instead of working collaboratively, we were all three men seemed to practice territorial pissing within the gallery. Like my earlier interests in completing a self-portrait, this exhibition also featured my attempt to fashion a new title for myself. Perhaps being in academia and being surrounded by professors and doctors inspired my desire for an honorific all my own, so I bestowed upon myself the title of Perplexecutioner. That last bit of colorful work, though, had little to do with my doctoral thesis, where I still am investigating how participatory art practices allow their participants to have an authorial experience. To test this idea, I devised a participatory art event, Canseldomly Calgarius. That event introduced an audience of 40 to the technique of portmanteau word coinage. Here I am returning to this, and facilitated the writing of a collective narrative. Within this experimental writing technique, the audience worked in small groups to invent first singular terms, then sentence fragments that we were then to string together into a web of narrative. The performance concluded with a ragged chorus where we attempted to give voice to this narrative structure. I'm ahead of schedule, apparently. 20 seconds is a long time. One of the things I learned from that performance is that participation is made easier when the audience has a clear sense of direction. To sharpen my ability to articulate an idea in as few words as possible, I challenged myself to invent a performance that could be described in a single sentence. Draw the Oxford History of Western Art from memory, was the result. But something about the idea compelled me to see whether fulfilling this obligation of this directive was even possible. So from March to April, I performed Disambiguating at Ledge Gallery in the Epcot Center for the Performing Arts. Each of the books, Oxford History of Western Art, has 735 numbered illustrations, were allotted a 10-minute interval for my recollective drawing. Their overall process took some 160 hours of performance. After being immobilized while I was fulfilling the obligations of disambiguating, I felt the need to do something a little bit more fluid. As well as after dealing with the institutionalization and canonization of art through that performance, I thought I needed to do something that somewhat circumvented the validating institutions which let us know that things are art. I returned again to language and developed portmanteau words and phrases that responded directly to what I claim is my own extended neighborhood. That is, Renfrew, Regal Terrace, Crescent Heights, and Rosedale. Yeah. As well, I imagined that I was building off the excellent work that Imaginary Ordinary had started the summer before in that very part of Calgary. So, yay, Imaginary Ordinary. Throughout this neighborhood, I distributed my coinages with the idea that they were a form of cost-effective community improvement. Additionally, the words were printed on magnetic paper so that they could function like graffiti, yet be non-defacing. My second last work returned to the idea of a single-sentence directive. This work invites the audience to trace the work of art in the age of mechanical reproduction, an action that I myself completed between November 1st and 5th over a 36-hour schedule of performance. 11 days ago in Carrollton, Georgia, I returned to participatory performance and led a small but inventive group of participants in the process of coin agitation. Here again, the work of art is not a singular or isolated instance, but a process and a form of creative labor that continually opens up possibilities and opportunities for communication. Thank you.